responsibility, organisation, and good timekeeping skills, I suppose.
Number one is being supportive. 2, patient, but it's not always easy. And 3, to unconditional love.
Communication, just being present and all the time, and loving.
I think it's changing from what it used to be. I'm the breadwinner, I go out and earn, but equally my wife could go out and earn the same as I now, in the role she does. So I think it's very important to be around at home.
Children need 2 parents, and a mother and a father adds balance. If I'm not saying anything against single parents household, but I do believe in balance, and I think because men and women are different.
I don't know, it's pretty shared with me and my wife, because she's like carer. I'm a carer for her because she's disabled, so I kind of look after her and the children.
Dads are usually taller than the mums.
But I don't know, I do most things with the kids, but now the girls are getting that bit older, into almost development stage, I won't help them that way. So I can see where I do things with my lad where my wife won't, and I think that way, definitely, but other things are pretty shared.
Yeah, towards the mother, yeah. I attend short start classes on a Wednesday, that is. Like, that's just for fathers, that is, as well. So, yeah. But yeah, it is aimed more towards the mum than what it is the fathers, most of the time anyway. Unless there's a single parent family with just a father. So, but men don't get postnatal depression or anything like that, so you've got nothing to worry about there.
I've noticed a significant change between then and now, but it's something I've worked on personally with other organisations, and we've actually gone in and challenged health visitors, and they've come and questioned us how they can be more approachable to men. Because sometimes you just come in and tell you to shut up and put the kettle on. And that was at one stage, but now they do try and get you more involved.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, even in the delivery room, we had a bit of a problem before we had him, and it was just like Dad shoved straight to the sideline, and you feel useless, really. So
I think it's getting better, but I think it's got a long way to go. Well, I can remember when Kaya was a baby, and I was travelling alone on the motorway, stopped at a service station, needed to change her nappy, and there was no changing facilities at all in the men's and only in the women's. So I had to get an attendant to take me into the women's so I could change her. I think it's changing. There are more places now, but there still needs to be a lot more.
Dad's excluded in so many ways from care, from childcare, from children's services in general. So I don't think things are father friendly yet. No.
They definitely cater more for mum, I would say. Most of my children have grown up and left home now, but when they were at school, I always went into school, took them to school, fetched them from school, helped in school. I was in a real minority, and they seem to be able to, they welcome that. I think they probably welcome more dads, but they were more geared for the interaction, I think, with the mums and the dads.
You know, I think they're equally receptive to anybody, to be fair. Probably find that it tend to be with the school plays during the daytime, so dads are generally at work, depending on how old the child is, and depends if mum's at work as well. I'm quite fortunate when I am available, then I'll certainly go to the plays. But if not, then because of little, and then mum's able to go as well.
In the early days, anyway, definitely, I've always felt as if I was a bit of an outsider when you go to pick the kids up. I don't know whether that's me feeling self-conscious about it, or whether it's you get the mothers looking at you and thinking, oh, and is he here for good or bad, sort of thing.
I would say it's more geared for mums, I would have thought. Although, to be fair, I mean, I do go. They encourage both parents to come to assemblies and that sort of thing. They have termly prize distributions every time.
When the kids have got 60 stars.
They have a star system at a school where every term, if the kids that get 60 stars, parents are invited to the assemblies in the morning just to see them being given a certificate, which I've always found them very accommodating on that front. It's probably, which I presume is the theme of this thing, it's more an issue getting from work to the school rather than the school being happy me being there. You know, it's more of a work thing, I think, really.
Not really, especially not in today's market. It's a very difficult. I work for a quantity surveying and project management group, which are very much specialist led, and so there's not a lot of time for families inside the business.
Well, I'm quite lucky because I'm quite flexible where I work, because I kind of like run what I do. So if it needs to be, if there's an emergency, then I can go. But I do tend to feel that in my particular role as well, that it's me or nothing, and I'm obligated to be at work for a long time. I mean, I work 8 till 5. I hardly ever break as well. So, and the odd time that you want to get away from the office a bit early, it's frowned on if if someone phones up and you're not there. So
I can pretty much flex my own hours to suit should I see fit. Obviously, if I'm sent away, then that obviously has an impact where it's not open for debate. It's I have to go away, and they accommodate me where I can.
Yeah, they've always been good if I've had to rush off because they're in, they've injured themselves or something. They've always been really good with that. Yeah.
No, well, not out of their choice. I'm a manager, so I kind of have a responsibility there. So I have a split responsibility, and it's managing the two responsibilities that's the difficult thing. So, and that isn't really a fault of my employer. It's my own decision at the end of the day. But it makes, I think, employment in general is difficult. I don't think employers particularly are active in it, but in my employer, I'm particularly active in encouraging it. But having said that, I don't really push the issue. Okay.
I think it's evolved as outside experiences, influences and times change, financial times, materialistic ways, things like that. But essentially, I think that dad is an important part of all families, and I think it's a slightly retrograde step that we've got so many single parents these days. I think kids are are missing out big time with not having the dads there sometimes.
Yeah, I think it has. My dad never praised us as kids, really. He used to praise us away from us, if that makes sense. So he used to talk to people and say how good we were doing, but never really seemed to be around that much, and kind of a standoffish a little bit. Whereas I'm very much, our roles are equal. So there's nappies to be changed, which are plenty in our household, and I'll quite happily muck in and do that, or do the dream feed, or get up at night. And I feel it's part of my responsibility as much as my wife's responsibility to do that.
I don't think so, to be perfectly honest. You don't hear much of fathers with their boys or fathers with their girls or whatever. It's always the mothers. Even on the adverts, when you see the adverts on the telly, it's the baby and the mother, not the baby and the father. So.
Can't think of any examples as such, but you've only got to see the drama shows on TV, and dad always seems to be the villain in a lot of the shows, and that's how it's portrayed. It's rare to see, on the flip side, that the mum's portrayed as the villain in that respect. Mum is always looking out for the children. Well, perhaps sometimes the dad is as well, but in his own way, and may not always be perceived as such.
Well, to be fair, I haven't watched any soaps and that for years, but when I did used to watch them, I used to think that mainly the dad was seen as either a comedy element, or a bit old-fashioned. And might do as I say and all that sort of stuff. Or as I says, there was always a comedy element to him, and they might well, I suppose it's true to life. In the house, you're usually the last to hear anything, and right apart from when you're really needed, which I suppose is quite good. I don't know.
They glamorise a lot of things and make it so easy, and it's not always so easy to achieve those things. Looking on the bright side, perhaps, but it doesn't always work like that.
I remember when the midwife came to our house, he always went to the kitchen to make a cup of tea just in case she wanted to talk to me about something specific, because she was feeling fine, but as soon as he left, she also felt more relaxed.
Absolutely.
So he was there, but a bit on the side, on one side.